Okay. Moving on, new business, we've had tenured employee recognition already. Okay, I think, Tori has something about short-term disability insurance.
In
She
your
does
packet,
the insurance for,
you'll see this little flip handout. We have been with Morgan White for our short-term disability that you graciously provide the employees for several years, and their rates continue to go up. When we received our renewal this last time, it was not only gonna go up in rates, but it was also, they were gonna charge us because we use paper checks. And it's more difficult for the city to do ACH payments and such. So what I thought we might want to look into is to see if there was a cheaper option with the same amount of coverage. So I contacted Charlie Willett. He does our AFLAC policies for our employees, and he asked for some information, and this is what he got back with me about. If you look on the left side of the page, it talks about what our current policy is, what it covers, and the monthly and annual cost for our employees, because we cover all of our full-time employees with that. And if you'll look at, it's a maximum of 500 weekly benefit, but it doesn't start until after 90 days. That's been a problem for several of our employees that have actually had to use it, because if they don't have a lot of sick time or whatever, they're having to go without a paycheck because they can't get this until it kicks in. What we looked at was a MetLife short-term disability that is the same coverage. You get up to $500 weekly based on what you make. But it kicks in after, if you have an accident, it kicks in immediately, and if you're having an illness, it kicks in after 7 days. And it doesn't last as long as the other. The other works for 52 weeks. But it's, for a short term, we've had several employees that have not even bothered to turn in a disability claim because, like they've had back surgery or whatever, and they were gonna be able to come back in a couple of months, so they just had to limp by with their sick time or whatever. But if you look at the cost, it's actually cheaper for us to provide the short-term disability for all of our employees with, I feel like, better coverage. He also quoted me for a long-term disability, which is similar to what we have, even though Morgan White calls it a short-term disability. And that is on the right on the second, where it says MetLife long-term disability. What they said was that they would do either policy individually, or they could do a combined policy, and it would, the short term would just roll into the long term if we had employees that were having a major problem. And the costs are laid out there. It's $426 for all of our current full-time employees. I figured it for every employee that we currently have monthly. For the MetLife short-term disability, it's $316 for the MetLife long-term disability per month, and it's $742 per month for both of those policies combined. And this would be a replacement for the Morgan White plan that we have.
so does anybody have any questions, discussion, what you'd like to do?
So if you just do short term to the new short term, you save money, but down here they're saying go from short term to start having short and long?
Well, they said that we could do either. We could do the short term by itself, and that you have what that would cost us.
But that's what we have now. It would just be their short term.
Well, yeah, except for if you look at the way that the coverage works, it's
Okay,
different.
Yeah.
Or we could do the long term by itself, or we could do the combined. So if you're wanting to just save money, the MetLife short term would be the way to go, because it would save us quite a bit of money. And it would still be ample coverage for the employees.
But I may not even ask right. I was wondering, we don't even have a long-term now.
Right,
is what you're
correct,
saying.
yes,
Okay.
But it only lasts for 13 weeks,
correct,
not 52.
Mhm.
right. But the 52-week one doesn't kick in till after 90 days, and a lot of our employees just can't get paid if they have to be off.
Does
And-
any,
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, I don't know if I'm picking it apart enough, but I guess if we do both, then what you lack in the short term picks up as their long term, or not?
Right, yeah,
'Cause
so if we were
the
to
time
do
works out.
both, then, yeah, it would roll over into this, if someone had to be off.
It would
For
make
more
sense for
than
their short
13
term to be
weeks.
worse, yeah,
Mhm.
okay. So like about $240 a month more.
Mhm.
How many people a year have to use short-term disability? I don't know, it's just like maybe the last year or two. What's your idea of
We've
that?
had, we haven't had any, in 2018, we did not have any that had to use it. But in 2017, there were, 3 employees, I'm sorry, that had to use it. We also, this is also for the Utilities Commission as well, so that they do what we do, we're on the same policy. So if you decide to do this, then they would adopt it as well, and, so we've, since I've been here since 2005, I think there have been 5 or 6 employees that have had to use it, but there have also been probably 5 or 6 that could have used it, but didn't,
Mhm.
because they weren't gonna be, I mean, like Darren and Dwayne both had back surgery a couple years ago, and they were only gonna be off for a couple of months, and they didn't, I mean, this wouldn't have even kicked in by that time.
So we would have had maybe twice as many people use it if we had this.
Right.
But then my thought is if we have that, you'd wanna do that, so it's gonna be, I don't know, yeah.
Did you
Well, we
mention
can also-
Aflac as well?
I'm sorry.
Do we have Aflac as well, you say?
The employees,
For some,
some of the employees do have Aflac, yes, but they don't have a disability. That's not one of our offered plans,
Okay.
because the city provides that for the employees.
Okay.
and this one over here is through Aflac, or,
No, it's not Aflac,
That
oh,
one.
okay.
It's MetLife.
Oh, okay.
but it's through our Aflac agent,
Oh, okay.
Who is that?
Charlie Willett. He's based out of Dawson Springs. But Morgan White, we don't have a local agent for that at all, and haven't had since I've been here. I don't know who originally got the short-term disability, or, the Morgan White plan going, but it's not a local plan. And to answer your question, Marcus, no, we wouldn't have to do both. We could start out with one, and then if we felt like we needed to add the long-term later, we could do that as well.
If we're not using it very much, I think we ought to go with the least expensive one. If you all think that's a good idea, but
And when they use it, they don't use it over that amount.
Right, we've only had,
Just take an average.
we've had 3 employees that I think have had to be off longer than 13 weeks, as far as that, and since I've been here.
Okay. So do I have a motion to go with MetLife?
do you all prefer an option, 1 or 2, or?
Just do the short term for one.
Okay.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion, second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, now it's that time of year where I've got several board, appointments. One is I need to take Ross Jones off the park board, not because he's a magistrate, because he could continue serving on the park board, being a magistrate, because he'd already checked on it, but he does not live in the Greenville city limits. So I have talked with Chad Moloski and asked him if he'd like to serve, and he has said yes, he would love to do that. And he's got young children, and so, anyway, so that is, for the park board. Then County Joint Planning and Zoning Commission, Edgar Reynolds, I don't think he's ever gone to a meeting, and so I've talked to Wade Walters, and Wade said he would do that. And this is also where we're gonna get approval from our new, county, plan that we're doing, and it's gonna go there, and there's gonna be a lot, and so I thought Wade would be a good member for that. And then, Leslie Cornett comes up for tourism, so I'm gonna reappoint Leslie, and that's it. So, I'd like a motion to accept all those new board appointments.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Nathan, second,
Second.
Sly, any other, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimous. Okay, we've already done the surplus. Anyway, the only thing that we'd like is to go in, if other business would be to go into closed session to discuss personnel.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all right, all those in favor?